My name is Travis Wells. I'm the Assistant Athletic Director for Strategic Communications here at Virginia Tech, and it's my distinct pleasure to welcome all of you here this morning. From our distinguished guests to the university community, members of the media, and all of Hokie Nation as we celebrate this landmark day for Virginia Tech football. Thank you so much for being here. We're grateful for your attendance. Incredibly disappointing. I can tell you that never gets old. If it doesn't make the hair stand up on your neck, you might not have a pulse. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium our very first speaker of the day. Please join me in welcoming the rector for the Virginia Tech Board of Visitors, Mr. John Rakovich.
Well, good morning, and thank you for being here. When I became rector on July the 1st, it was evident to our board, our administration, our alumni, and I believe all of our constituents that the time had come to elevate Virginia Tech's financial commitment to athletics, and specifically football. On behalf of the Board of Visitors, Jay Pearson and Ryan McCarthy took the lead in working with the administration to work out the financial plan. They also took the lead on the search committee that President Sands appointed to lead that, along with Bruce Arians and Bud Foster and Brad Hobbs and Eddie Royal. I'm probably missed somebody. That resulted in what we have here today, an outstanding coach in Coach James Franklin. I will promise him our full support of all of our constituent groups, and I will also promise him that Blacksburg, Virginia, and Virginia Tech will be the best place he ever lived. Thank you.
Thank you, Rector Rakovich. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the podium Virginia Tech President, Dr. Timothy Sands.
We are so excited to welcome Coach Franklin, Fumi, and their family to Blacksburg and to Hokie Nation. I'd like to thank our athletic director, Whit Babcock, and our administrative team led by Chief Operating Officer Amy Sebring, and of course the Board of Visitors led by Rector Rakovich. The Invest to Win plan approved in September is really transformational, and the first clear evidence of that is sitting next to us right here. At Virginia Tech, there are 4 primary reasons that we invest in athletics. The student-athlete experience is a leadership training ground. Number 2, the experiences shared during major athletic events create indelible ties between students, alumni, and the institution that really seed future engagement. Third, athletics at the highest level elevates Virginia Tech's brand beyond Appalachia and the Mid-Atlantic. And fourth, our local economy is critically dependent on athletics. When we invest to win in football at Virginia Tech, everyone wins. I'd also like to add my thanks to the search committee, including Board of Visitors members Jay Pearson and Ryan McCarthy, as well as Bruce Arians, Bridget Ryan Berman, Lynn Dowdy, Bud Foster, Brad Hobbs, and Eddie Royal, who, with the support of A.D. Whit Babcock, Rector John Rokovich, and University Legal Counsel Kay Heidbreder, led us to this outcome. This is really an all-star committee, and each one of them invested their time and energy to ensure that Hokie football is positioned to win in this new era of college athletics. The future is bright. Go Hokies. And now our athletic director, Whit Babcock.
Yeah, thank you all for coming, and thank you to those watching online. Today is a landmark moment for Virginia Tech football, and we are thrilled to introduce and welcome James Franklin as our next head coach. Today is a statement about where we are headed as an athletic department and as a university, one built on alignment, investment, and ambition. Coach Franklin is a proven program builder, a winner, an elite recruiter, a strong developer of men, and a relentless competitor. His track record speaks for itself. Coach has succeeded everywhere he's been, at Vanderbilt, at Penn State, and throughout more than 3 decades in this profession. He's shown he can elevate programs, sustain excellence, and attract top-tier talent both on the field and on the sidelines. His combination of leadership, discipline, energy, and vision aligns with everything we want Virginia Tech football to be. This hire was made possible because of our Board of Visitors, President, and university leadership were committed and aligned from the start. Their invest-to-win mindset and willingness to fully support the athletic department and the future of Virginia Tech football was extremely instrumental in attracting a coach of James Franklin's caliber. This unity and support reflects a powerful commitment to the student-athlete experience and to elevating our football program back to the national stage where it so rightfully belongs. I also want to thank and acknowledge our search committee, a very talented team with complementary skill sets. They were deliberate, thorough, insightful, and focused on finding the best leader for our program. They were tremendous. Job well done. Coach Franklin brings a lot to Virginia Tech. A championship-level resume, including a top 12 final CFP rankings, 7 of the last 9 seasons, and a national semifinal appearance last season. New Year's 6 bowl game success and a Big Ten title. He brings a commitment to developing student-athletes as people, students, and competitors. He brings a dynamic recruiting presence with deep national relationships. He has heavily recruited and succeeded in recruiting Virginia and the Mid-Atlantic region and beyond. He brings a strong vision for program building, culture, and long-term sustainability. He brings a genuine passion for this role, for his players, the community, and he embraces the opportunity to write the next chapter of Virginia Tech football. Virginia Tech and Coach Franklin both have something to prove to the entire country, and we will do it all together. He also brings an appreciation for family. His priority of and love for his wife and 2 daughters was evident throughout this process. It's way more than just football to him. We are a family at Virginia Tech. This is home, as we like to say around here, and the Hokie family is ready to welcome the Franklin family with open arms. A message to our players who are in attendance: you are the heart of this program. Without players, there would be no coaches. Coach Franklin is here because we believe he can help you grow, develop, and achieve your goals individually and collectively. We are and always will be committed to your experience, well-being, and success. So I certainly want to thank our players and all of our student athletes, along with a very special acknowledgement of Coach Montgomery and his staff as well for all of your, yes. For our players, Coach Montgomery and his staff as well, thank you for your effort and perseverance during this season. During a very difficult and uncertain time, we are proud of you. And please know this, all of you, again, players, coaches, and staff, you will have the full support of Hokie Nation behind you this Saturday, next Saturday, and beyond. And finally, a message to Hokie Nation. Thank you for your passion and pride. Your energy makes Lane Stadium one of the best environments in college football. Every single candidate we interacted with, interviewed, or more always referenced you all and our amazing fan base, including Coach Franklin, of course. Hokie Nation deserves to be rewarded in return and will be very soon. Coach Franklin will feed off your energy and passion. He will build on it, and he will elevate it. The future starts today, and we could not be more excited. Here come the Hokies. Now, please join me in officially welcoming your next head football coach, Coach James Franklin.
Good morning. Love having the core here. So excited about partnering with you guys. It's something that makes this place unique and special. Couldn't be more excited about this opportunity. My wife, Fumi, my brother-in-law, Jason, couldn't be more excited about this opportunity and being with you guys this morning. I want to make sure that I get a chance to thank everybody that's been a part of this process. And that's probably the thing I'm most concerned about, that I don't miss anybody. But starting with President Sands has been awesome throughout this entire process. His commitment to our program, his plan for the program, the investment in the program. In today's college football, there needs to be alignment. There's no other way to do it. That is from the rector to the president to the athletic director to the head football coach, and most importantly, the fans and alumni. And President Sands has been phenomenal throughout this entire process. Could we please give President Sands a round of applause? I'd also like to thank our rector of the board, John Rakovich. I was fortunate to have an opportunity to fly to the board meetings yesterday in Northern Virginia. I found out very quickly, John said, look, you'll have your time tomorrow, but I run a tight ship in these meetings, so keep your message short. But I want to thank John for his leadership as well. That's been phenomenal, and obviously this relationship is going to be critical moving forward. And then most importantly, Whit Babcock. Whit has been relentless throughout this entire process. He has been authentic, he has been transparent, and he's been honest. And the opportunity to be able to get to know Whit on a more significant level has been a big part of this process for me. Back to what I was talking about before, the alignment is so important. And having an athletic director with Whit's experience and with his character has meant a lot to me and my family. So I want to thank Whit for his leadership in this process. I'd like to acknowledge Brent Pry. Sorry.
Yeah.
I always say I'm not going to get emotional, and then I get emotional. So, Brent Pry is a good friend. Gosh, Brent Pry's dad was my offensive coordinator in college. Gosh. Brent's dad was my offensive coordinator in college. I've known Brent for over 30 years. Brent's first year coaching was my senior year at the Harvard of the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference, East Stroudsburg University. I know you guys are all very familiar with it. And then Brent and his family was with me at Vanderbilt all 3 years, and then I think for our first 7 years at Penn State. So I got a ton of respect for Brent and his family. I know he poured his heart and soul into this place. I know this place is better today because of Brent and the commitment that he made. So I just want to show the respect to him. I know how much coaches pour their hearts and souls into this job, and I just wanted to make sure that I gave Brent the respect that him and his family deserve. Been in this profession for over 30 years, and have learned a ton of lessons. Started in Division II, worked my way all the way up, got my first big break in the ACC, been a head coach in the SEC, been a head coach in the Big Ten, and now obviously fortunate to have this unbelievable opportunity in the ACC at Virginia Tech. But all these experiences, all these lessons that I've learned, we're going to pour them into Virginia Tech. And I feel like it's going to put us in a really specific position to separate ourselves over a ton of different schools. There's very few head coaches that have had the experience in the SEC, in the Big Ten, and the ACC. And we're going to use all those experiences and resources for the betterment of Virginia Tech. I want to thank Penn State. I had 12 years there. It's very unusual in college football to get 12 years at a place. Most importantly, the relationships, the staff, the players. The players here at Virginia Tech are going to find out I'm a player's coach. That's what it's all about for me. That's what it always will be. Just to be very clear, though, just because I'm a player's coach doesn't mean that there won't be discipline and accountability. I'm an old school guy. I'm going to coach you hard, but I'm also going to love you hard as well. When you do something well, there's going to be nobody that's going to celebrate and show more appreciation than me, but there also will be accountability in our program every step of the way. I believe that young people have a chance to achieve their goals and their expectations, both individually and collectively, when they know how much you truly care about them. Young people want to be coached. I think there is a myth out there. I think there's a concern out there in today's major college football that you can't coach these guys. I don't think that's true. They're going to be coached hard, they're going to be developed hard, but they're going to be loved and cared for as well. I want to thank Coach Beamer. As everybody knows, Coach Beamer's the man, and he built this place. And I've asked for the blessings of two people. Sanya Allah, my father-in-law, I called him and asked for his blessing to marry his daughter, Fumi. And then the night before signing a contract, I called Coach Beamer and asked him for his blessing of taking over his program. I was a little concerned because I called him 3 times and he didn't answer the phone. So I called his wife and she said, "I'm sorry, Coach, we didn't have your number." But I was able to get Coach Beamer's blessing, and that means a ton to me. I'm somebody that values the history, the traditions, the legends, and obviously nobody's more important than Virginia Tech football than Frank Beamer and his family. This place has produced some all-time greats. Michael Vick, Bruce Smith, Antonio Freeman, Corey Moore, Cam Chancellor, Tyrod Taylor, Kevin Jones, Christian Darrisaw, David Wilson, D'Angelo Hall, the Fuller family, the Edmond family. I can go on. And obviously, some people, I don't want to disrespect anybody that I may miss, but it's just been so much history and tradition. And at the end of the day, this is a player's game. I'm not sure why, but the plays just seem to work better when you got really good players. We had a running back at Penn State, maybe you guys have heard of him, named Saquon Barkley. And for some reason, when we handed the ball off to him, the plays just worked better. So coaches get a lot of credit, but this is a player's game. When you talk about some other things that I think are important to everybody here, is in my 15 years, we've always done it the right way. There's no shortcuts in building a program. And I think we have a track record that shows that. And I know that was important to all the men on this stage as well. Winning is really important. There's nobody that understands the importance of winning more than me. But there's also a way to do it with character and integrity, and we'll continue to do that and represent Virginia Tech the right way, both on and off the field. The passion is critical. We talked about it on Saturday. We've already started recruiting. 2 nights ago, I had 40 players on the phone, young men that are committed to Virginia Tech. Also called all the top players in the state of Virginia as well. And we are going to need this stadium rocking on Saturday. One of the things that was important is me and my wife, when we were making this decision, we watched your game day the last few weeks, and it was impressive. During a challenging season, I want to give Coach Montgomery a ton of credit as well. The stadium is rocking. The guys are playing hard. And that's going to be important. We're going to have a ton of recruits this weekend for an official visit, and I want them to feel the energy in our stadium. So I'm going to ask you to pack that stadium for us. I can't wait to run out Enter the Sandman. I've been watching that intro to college football my entire life, and it is something special. And I'll watch it this Saturday and pay Coach Montgomery the respect that he deserves. But I can't wait to have the opportunity to run out in that stadium. I want to make sure that I go back and thank the search committee. I want to thank Bud Foster, huge part of this. It's great to talk to the administration. It's great to talk to the board members and the donors and the former players. But for me to be able to talk coach to coach with Bud has been extremely valuable. Bruce Arians, Ryan McCarthy, Jay Pearson was relentless. I don't know if everybody knows Jay Pearson, but this guy is relentless. He sent me a box of ties and what I call pocket squares. He calls them handkerchiefs. But sent me a box of ties for today. Brad Hobbs, Eddie Royal. I had a tremendous conversation with Eddie Royal one night as well. So I want to thank all of them as well. I also want to talk about recruiting the current players. This is a unique situation where I'm here early. One of the challenges always when you're taking over these new jobs, you're always recruiting for the future. Well, the most important thing is recruiting our current players. I'm going to get a chance to visit with those young men today. I think a lot of times the current team is worried about the new coach coming in and wanting his own players. The day I signed the contract to be the head coach at Virginia Tech, they're all my players. That is the current team, and that is the players that we're going to bring in for competition. And the reality is people worry about, well, is he going to have favorites? Yes, I am going to have favorites. My favorites are high production and low maintenance players, coaches, and staff. As for coaches, I'm going to bring the best fit for Virginia Tech. We're going to have an opportunity to attract some of the best coaches in the country. That will be in terms of spending time with the current staff and seeing who makes sense to keep on with us, because those people have obviously poured their hearts and soul into this program. Also bringing some coaches from other places as well. But that's going to be a very important piece of this process as well. But, in closing, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody for coming out this morning. I want to thank the search committee. I want to thank the leadership. everybody has been phenomenal. And I couldn't be more excited. My family couldn't be more excited about our future here at Virginia Tech. You could not have found a coach that's going to pour his heart and soul into this place more than me and my family. I give you my word on that. Sorry. Sorry, you're going to find I'm an emotional guy. I don't take things for granted. My wife makes fun of me. We'll be sitting there watching, TV, and a commercial will come on, and she'll look over, and I'm getting emotional about the commercial. She's like, "Are you kidding me right now?" But I just think I don't take this for granted. I don't take my family for granted. I don't take my career for granted. This is all I got. I don't have any other hobbies. My wife says I don't have any other skills. I want to be a great husband. I want to be a great father. I want to be a great football coach and represent this place the right way. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Go Hokies.
Thank you, Coach Franklin, Witt, Dr. Sands, and Rector Rakovich. It's time now to enter into the Q&A portion of our event today. Just a reminder for our media folks, we have some wireless mics in the room. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. Please identify yourself and your outlet. Also identify who your question is directed to. We'll start on the front row here with Andy Bitter.
James, Andy Bitter from Tech Sideline.
Hey, Andy, how are you?
I'm curious in your conversation.
Hey, Andy, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, good to see you.
I'm curious in your conversations with the committee, how early did they approach you? How relentless were they? What convincing did you need to take this job?
Yeah, so just out of respect for everybody, I'm not going to get into a whole lot of detail with the process. But I will tell you, I think they were very aggressive, right? The very first time we met, I don't want to speak for them, but I feel like they were ready for me to say yes that night, and I thought it was just a initial conversation. But I think they were aggressive. And what I will also say, thanks to the leadership of everybody, is what was very obvious to me very early on is that they had a plan. Right? They had a plan. I think you'd be surprised going through this process how few people really understand what college football takes in today's day and age. They had done their own homework, so it wasn't like coming to me and what do you need? They already had a great list and a really good plan put together on what was needed to be successful in today's college football, not only in the ACC, because I think that's a mistake that people make sometimes. They benchmark only on their conference. And the reality is we should be benchmarking not only on our conference, but also nationally, right? If we truly have the expectations and the standards of where we want to go, then our commitment must match those expectations. And that's what I was able to feel very early on, that there was a plan. There was an approach and mentality that I think aligned with what I was looking for and what my family was looking for. And I think that really helped the process. It wasn't like having a conversation with me. I'm talking about the things that I think we need to have to be successful at the very highest level. They were already there. So I think that really helped with the entire process. But I'd say very aggressive from that point on. Me and Bud spoke pretty much every day, if not multiple times a day. His wife is shaking her head yes right now. And I think that was really valuable. Jay Pearson as well, very, very aggressive. And obviously Witt was huge in this. For coaches, you want to make sure that you're going to work with good people that are going to be in the foxhole with you and battling all the things that you need. So having those conversations with the group was really important. I know that's a long answer. You're going to find I can give long answers. I'm not supposed to. They tell you that's not good in media training. But those things I think were very helpful for me in the process.
We'll go next to David Teal on the front row, and then Damian Swordlet on row 2.
Coach David Teal with the Virginian Pilot.
Hey, David, how are you?
Good to see you again.
And I apologize, I couldn't talk to you on the sideline of Old Dominion the other night.
Completely understood, and you were very gracious.
Yes, sir.
You teared up when you talked about Coach Pry. What were your conversations like with him about Virginia Tech? What did he tell you?
Yeah, so fortunate for me, I know a ton of people here, right? One of the advantages and one of the challenges from my 12 years at Penn State is that we had a ton of people leave our program to go be head coaches. We lost Joe Moorhead to go to Mississippi State. We lost Ricky Ronnie to go to Old Dominion. We lost Manny Diaz to go to Duke. We lost Brent Pry to go to Virginia Tech. And when you lose really good people, that's part of the challenge. You got to continue to try to replace them. The other challenge is when they leave you, they take staff members with them, typically for promotions, right? And that's one of the challenges. You continue to lose really, really good people. The advantage, obviously, is I'm able to call Brent Pry, and he's going to tell me the truth. I didn't really want anybody to sugarcoat it because none of these places are perfect. I'm not perfect, right? Let's just talk about what are the strengths, what are the advantages, what are the challenges. And Brent was very, very transparent. The first thing that was very obvious is he cares about this place deeply. Going all the way back to when I think he was a GA with Bud in the Sugar Bowl. He's always spoke very, very highly of this place and the community as well. But that's valuable. It also allowed me and Whit to have very transparent conversations as well about some of the feedback I was getting, what are the plans for these types of things. But that was really valuable. And then other things. Michael Hazel has been on the staff. Michael was with me really from day one. When I showed up at Vanderbilt, Michael Hazel was on the staff. So having these people that I could have very honest, transparent conversations, because I'm no different than anybody else here, right? When you're making a decision that's not only going to impact your career, but also is going to impact your family, you want to make sure that you're making that decision with as much of the information possible so you can make an educated decision and put my family in the best position to be successful, but most importantly, put Virginia, well, not most importantly, just as importantly, put Virginia Tech in the best position to be successful. And you can't really do that unless you have all the information. So Brent's been great through this entire process. I got a ton of respect for him and his family. And I probably would not be sitting here today without Brent's input and thoughts about this place.
We'll go to Damian Swordlet on the second row, and then David Cunningham on row 1.
Damian Swordlet, the Roanoke Times.
Hey, Damian.
It's for Whit. You're about a month into the coaching search when James Franklin is available. What were the talks with the committee about? We need to look into a proven winner and someone who understands recruiting in this region, understands how to win at different power conference levels. And was that when you said, all right, let's go get him?
Yeah, it was something like that. We talked when we started the committee. One of the first things we started with was a list of traits that we wanted to see in our next head coach. Then we went through the process of knowing that we wanted a proven sitting head coach, and there's only 130 some of them in FBS football. There's some that we didn't feel that were ready for the job. There were others we felt were not movable. And we started to narrow down that list together. And we would talk about that, and the committee would rank them and ask my advice from time to time, and then they would always have a time to sit and talk and rank candidates. And when Coach Franklin became available, we had a very brief conversation. The committee met on their own and voted 8-0 to make him the top candidate, so that kind of set our mission right there. And then we had a number of other strong candidates that will be fabulous coaches in our own right, but Coach Franklin met those traits, and I just happen to have them right here. These are the traits that we started with, and he checks all these boxes. executive leadership, head coaching success, vision and drive to rebuild, modern program management in the NIL transfer portal and revenue share era, player development, communication and public engagement, recruiting excellence, staff building and management, cultural and institutional fit at Virginia Tech, and the committee, and I know I can speak for them, 9 out of 9, he scored 100 on that.
It would have been helpful, Whit, if you would have shared that list with me earlier in the process.
Next, we'll go to David Cunningham on the front row, please.
David Cunningham, Tech Sideline.
Hey, David. How are you?
Good, how are you? Welcome to Blacksburg.
Thank you, sir.
In this era of college football, in your opinion, what does it take to succeed, and what about this program at Virginia Tech do you feel like is set up so the Hokies can thrive here?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is alignment, like we've already talked about, from the board, the president, the athletic director, the head football coach. Some of those things deal with a financial commitment, right, which has been made. Those things started early in the process and before I was even a candidate. And then I would say after that, it's about getting the right people in place, starting with the head coach all the way down to the assistants and players. Those things are obviously really, really important and critical. But I think the things that kind of stood out to me right away is the passion for Virginia Tech football, the things that kind of align from a regional perspective. I got tremendous respect for the state of Virginia, the high school football, and also when you talk about a 6-hour radius from campus. The number of high-level football players, the types of coaching that they're getting, and the attractiveness of Virginia Tech to them as well. So it really started with the plan, and it started with the alignment. And then after that, it was just, does this make sense for both parties, and are we going to be able to achieve all of our goals and dreams here? And I think that's a place we can do that.
Let's go to third row, Ryan Castle, please.
Ryan Castle, Sons of Saturday. How are you, Coach?
Hey, Ryan. Good. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. Coach, after you were let go from Penn State, you mentioned that you wanted to take some time for reflection and analysis on your time there. What did you take from that time of reflection, and what might you want to do differently here at Virginia Tech?
Yeah, great question. So I think the first thing is, right, you take a deep breath. 15 years as a head coach, a lot of success, 3 straight years at Vanderbilt going to bowl games, 2 seasons where we won 9 games at Vanderbilt. We beat Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida all in the same season. That had never happened before. You go to you go to Penn State. Our first year off of sanctions, we win the Big Ten championship. In the last 3 years, there's only 4 programs in the country that won more games than us. And last year, a game away from playing for the national championship. So I say all that just to say there is a core belief system of how we do things that works. And we believe in that, and we have conviction in that. But there's also time to say, what things can we do better? How can we evolve? How can we grow? And I think the most important thing is we all got to look in the mirror, right? We got to be authentic, and we got to be transparent and say, what do we need to do to take the next step to be as successful as possible? And that's hard. That is hard to do, to be that honest with yourself and be honest with the program. Just like everybody else, it probably starts with your phone, right? Being able to write notes in my phone. I have next staff notes. I have things that I learned through the process. Some of those things are for public consumption. Some of those things are for private, for me and my family. But areas that I know we need to grow and get better. So a lot of time to do it. More time than I've ever had in my life to do it, to be honest with you. Last week I was at the Old Dominion game. I tailgated for the first time ever, ate a hot dog, drank a beer. I'm not so sure if I'm supposed to say that or not. but tailgated for my first time ever in my life. And that time was good. It was painful, but it was good. And for us, me and my family, to take a minute, recharge our battery, was very important. So we're going to take all those experiences, all those lessons learned, and pour them into Virginia Tech. But I will also say this: people that have been following my career and the things that we did at Penn State, what I'm talking about is what you see right now. The leadership, the commitment, and the alignment. And the nice thing for me is I'm walking in here and that alignment already exists. And now I'm looking to partner with these men and women to put Virginia Tech in the best position to be successful long term.
Let's go to Tim Thomas on the second row, please.
James, Tim Thomas from the Tech Lunch Pro. How are you?
Hey, Tim. How are you, buddy?
Doing great. So what goes in this new era of college football to how you build out your roster in terms of high school recruiting versus a transfer portal? Because we've seen so many different programs go so many different directions to have success.
Yeah, so I don't know if I completely answered your question, so I'm going to tie these together. I think a couple things, right? I'm a big believer that this is still a game, a developmental game of young men. And that's developing them on the football field, that's developing them in the classroom, that's developing them to be prepared for the next phase of their life. I still believe that you can run your program from an old school perspective. I want this to be transformational, not transactional. There is more of a business aspect to college football than ever before. But I still believe you can still run your program in a way that's transformational, that starts with education and setting these guys up to be successful for the next 50 years of their life. But I would say it also has to do with these young men that we're going to be recruiting. They're going to be recruited from all the top programs in the country. They need to walk in to Virginia Tech football, and it needs to look, feel, smell, and operate like big time. Every aspect of it. Every aspect of it. How we make them feel when they come in the building, how important they are to what we're trying to do. When they walk around our facilities and they see the stadium and they see the indoor facility, and also when they get inside the football facility, it needs to look and feel and operate like a big-time program because they're visiting all these other places. And the reality is, it's not what you have because everybody has it, the programs that we're competing with. What stands out is the things that you're lacking. You've got to do that. Every box needs to be checked. And then the reality is, in today's day and age, there's an NIL component. And for us, we're not going to lead with money. I want young men to choose our program because this is where they want to be, but then we need to be competitive with all the other schools as well, because it doesn't make sense for us to ask these young people to walk away from significant money. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to build it with high school recruits. We're going to complement that with the portal. But I also think in year one, we're going to have an opportunity to maybe use the portal this year in year one, probably different than we will in other years. So we'll do that. I just think you have to be careful. If you are a portal team, you live by the portal, then every year you're going to have to live by the portal. You bring in 15 high school players and 30 transfer portal players. Most of those guys are seniors. They have 1 year. And now all of a sudden you got to replace 30 guys that are leaving out of your program with the transfer portal. It's hard to ever get out of that cycle. So it's going to be a high school developmental program that we are going to complement with the transfer portal. I would probably describe it a little bit like how a lot of programs in the past used junior college to fill holes in the roster while you're developing young people to get ready to be able to go out there and compete on the field. I'm a big believer it starts up front with the O-line and D-line. You can have all the skilled players you want, but if you can't dominate the line of scrimmage, you're going to have challenges. the line of scrimmage, the closer you get to the ball, that's a grown man's game in there. It's different being a wide receiver or corner at 18, 19 years old compared to being 22 and 23 years old and 300 pounds up front. That's a grown man's game, and you got to be able to make sure you have those guys on your roster, especially for what we played in last year, which was a 16-game season. The depth is critical.
Next, we'll go to the front row and Colby Crawford, and then row 5 for David Hale.
How's it going, James? Colby Crawford.
Hey,
VT
Colby.
Scoop.
How are you, buddy?
Doing well. On your College Game Day interview, you mentioned we'll go win a national championship somewhere else. You've talked about alignment. What in this process really stood out that makes you think you can win a national championship at Virginia Tech?
Yeah, well, again, it starts with alignment and it starts with commitment, right? When you ask about why do you have that type of confidence, because we were a drive away last year from playing in the national championship, so I know what it looks like. I know what you need to do. We learned from that experience. We grew from that experience. Again, the alignment, the commitment based on what we've done in our past as well. You pour all these things together at a place that's got great history, that's got great traditions, that's got great pride. You know, you look at today, you look at, how this facility is packed. Again, my good friends, the core over there as well. There's some things that are unique. But I will also say this. One of the mistakes that I think coaches make, and one of the things that I think search committees make, is they try to go hire somebody to go bring that to their place. All these places are unique and sophisticated. There are lessons from Vanderbilt, there are lessons from Penn State, but the reality is I'm going to need to lean into all these men, Coach Beamer, Coach Foster, and understand the institutional knowledge, the community knowledge, and be able to take my experiences and intertwine them with the university, with the community knowledge, with the institutional knowledge to put Virginia Tech in the best position to be successful. And that's what this sprint and marathon at the same time are going to be about over the next 6 months so that we can put a product on the field that everybody's really excited about.
Next, we'll go to David Hale in row 5. Raise your hand, David.
Hey, David Hale with ESPN. James, if you want to share that notes app with your staff thoughts.
Hi, David.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, good.
I was just going to say, if you want to share your notes app with all your staff hire plans, that would help us out a lot.
If you could shoot,
Travis.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. If you shoot Travis your cell phone number, I'll make sure you get that right after this meeting.
I owe you one. This is actually for Whit or President Sands. I know early in the process, there was a lot of discussion about modernizing the program in general. Bruce Arians, among others, talked about the general manager role and how that might play a part here. You guys have talked a lot about alignment here today. How do you see, or are you still planning on filling a general manager role, and how do you see that fitting into the larger hierarchy here?
Yes, we do plan to modernize with a more professional front office structure. A lot of that will depend on who Coach Franklin brings with him. I believe he has in mind somebody that he would like to see be the general manager. That's up to him. But if he brings a number of people that are great in player evaluation, great. And maybe we can add in some more on data analytics or rev share negotiation or NIL outbound sales. It's really taking what you already do as a football staff, enhancing it, and building it underneath this modern term of a front office. So it's in process, but a lot of it will depend on the skill sets of the folks that Coach Franklin hires, and then who do we need to go add and supplement to that.
All right, next we got time for a couple more. We're going to go third row, Mark Berman, and then we'll finish with Kyle Bailey on row 2.
Hi, Mark Berman, the Roanoke Times. Nice
Hey,
to meet
Mark.
you.
How are you, buddy?
You mentioned the portal earlier, but I was curious, in terms of high school recruiting, how much of your success recruiting in Virginia lead you to believe that Virginia Tech might be a better fit for you than maybe some other options you had out there?
Yeah, I've been fortunate. My wife is from Spokane, Washington. I've coached in every conference as well as the NFL. So I think those experiences were valuable and give me the confidence that really feel like I could go coach anywhere and be successful. I truly believe that. But at the end of the day, it just came down to the history, the traditions of this place, the plan and commitment that was communicated, and also the aggressiveness that they went about it. So for me, being in the footprint is important, and we're excited about that. It allows us to hit the ground running because we already have significant relationships with most of the players in this area. But in today's college football, you're going to recruit nationally. You're going to need to go wherever you have to go to fill the roster. There are going to be some years where the state of Virginia is going to have enough players to be a good portion of our recruiting class. There's going to be other years that it isn't. We're going to have to widen our nets. That's always the case. That's the nature of college football. So having these relationships in the footprint are important, but we also have to be able to go nationally. That's where having an airport right on campus is going to be important. We're going to be very aggressive in doing that. That's also where some of the budget decisions are important as well, to allow myself and the assistant coaches to get out and to be efficient with our time when there's really not enough time in the day to do it all as it is. So all these things are really important and critical, all the way back to my days at Vanderbilt when I was flying Southwest. Things have changed. So we embrace the opportunities that are here.
All right, with that, we'll wrap things up. Momentarily, we'll have some photo opportunities with our honored guests here at the podium. Just a reminder to all of our photographers in the back, if you would allow our University Athletics photographer, Dave Nakel, to be front and center, and then you all can kind of fill in behind Dave. Thank you all for coming, and go Hokies.